Hello, I'm Tashawn and this is Legacy Liner. Welcome aboard. So for today's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of talking about a passenger or crew member or someone on board the Titanic, what I want to do instead is talk about an event that I did a few weeks back where I actually got to meet Dr. Robert Ballard. I wanted to share with you guys what that experience was like. So the Maine Maritime Museum, they were having an event where it was called An Evening with Dr. Ballard, where you go to this event and there were two options. You could either pay to go for the seminar or you could pay and go for an actual meet and greet with Dr. Ballard. And what this was like an hour-long cocktail hour where you got to take a picture with them. They had all sorts of hors d'oeuvres. The bartenders there were very friendly, and walk around the museum and look at the various exhibits and everything and socialize. So it was a very lovely evening. I enjoyed myself. I got there, I went through the exhibits. I wish I had paid a little bit more attention to the exhibits. I'm definitely going to go back, but the excitement of meeting your childhood hero, I wasn't really focusing on it the way that I normally would have. But there really were some cool looking models and artifacts that they had there. I was talking with one of the people that worked there, and he was telling me about all these artifacts that they have that they keep, not even out on display, but just stuff that they either didn't put out or just got hidden away. And I just thought that was pretty cool. I was like, ooh, I got to go back and, start seeing what they got going on at this museum. And so we were lined up, or I wouldn't say lined up, but they were taking the queue for who would get their picture taken, the order they would get them taken in. So I finally got the courage after like a cocktail or two, I'm not even gonna lie, to say, okay, I'm gonna put my name on the list to meet them. So I finally, put my name up there, and when it came my turn to take the picture, I went up, shook his hand. He is such a friendly guy. He's very social. He's very good at socializing. He doesn't have any awkward pauses or anything like that, like what I do. And he doesn't, whenever he talks to you, he makes direct eye contact. He's very interesting. Like every single person that he spoke with, it seemed like he was just able to instantly have a conversation with them. With me, he was telling me about his family history. I'm from North Carolina, and I learned that apparently he himself, his people were originally from North Carolina way back, and they ended up getting pushed out because they were conductors on the Underground Railroad, and so they ended up getting run out by that. And every single person that he engaged with, he just was able to find something, talk to him about it, He just seemed very friendly. We ended up having some pretty good conversation, but there was other people that had to get their picture taken, so they interrupted it. I ain't gonna lie, I was like, you're interrupting my conversation with Dr. Ballard? But I understand they had to get the pictures taken. And it wasn't just meeting Dr. Ballard, it was also meeting other people in the Titanic community. I've met a few people there where it was a real pleasure just to have conversations with them about their passions, not just with Titanic, but with historical vessels, ocean liners in general. I just was happy to talk with them. I met someone where he does very beautiful colorized photos of passengers from the ship. So you might see me sneak a couple of those in on the channel. I'll give him credit, of course. I met someone who was into wooden boat building. I met someone else that had connections with the United States, that ocean liner. And so it was just very interesting to meet people that still shared that passion. And one of us, maybe two, we're going to meet up and go to the Titanic Artifact exhibit in Boston in a couple of weeks. So it really kind of made me realize I really need to start getting out and socializing more in the Titanic community. We all do. We all got that same nerdy passion. So we need to start going to these exhibits and these little events that they have. COVID is over. The isolation, being an introvert, it was cool. But it's time for us to stop, me included, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm talking to myself too. It is time to get out of the house. We've been in there long enough. After the cocktail hour was over, what we ended up doing is we went into this room where there was chairs for us to sit down. And this is when the other part of the crowd came in as well. And he gave a presentation, and he just told us the story of what got him into oceanography. He saw 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and it just inspired him, and he wanted to be Captain Nemo. And he said that in multiple documentaries he's done. But one of the things he said that really stuck out with me is that he said when he told his parents that he wanted to be Captain Nemo, they didn't laugh at him. They just said, okay, well, that sounds like oceanography or something. You know, they found a way to take his dream and base it in reality. He said you should never laugh at a child's dreams. And that is one of the things I cannot stress about Dr. Ballard enough from what I saw that night and what I've seen in documentaries and what I've heard about him. From what I've seen, it's true. He is very big on educating kids. He's very big on, allowing kids to be inspired and chasing after their dreams and passions, especially if it's in oceanography or marine science. I remember there was about 2 or 3 kids there in attendance, and whenever they would ask a question, Dr. Ballard made sure that he walked all the way to the back of the room where they were and made eye contact with them and gave them his undivided attention. This man who is super educated, oceanographer, all these degrees, all these accolades under his belt, and here he is giving a child his undivided attention and respecting what they're saying and everything. And that's one of the things that I admired about him, is that he really understands that kids are the future and you need to invest in them the same way that his parents didn't laugh at him and invested in what his dreams were. He has all this education and all these degrees and went through all of these different shipwrecks in history and explored them. And the slide that he was the most proud of out of this presentation, where he went over all of his accomplishments, the thing that stuck out with him the most, or the one that he spent the most time on, was the work that he did with educating children. The programs that he made that allowed different kids to look into marine science. That is the slide that he was the most proud of. The Titanic slide, finding the wreck, that was just like a quick little snip through. And, me and my little Titanic nerd friends that I made, we were like, wait, what? It kind of went by kind of fast. But you didn't mind because you learned so much about all the other things he did. Exploring the hydrothermal vents, finding these clams, these large clams that had almost like a blood-like substance, a substance that looked like human blood in them. There was all these things that he talked about, and you're just like, oh my God. He talked about, Noah's flood, how there was a flood that was around the time that Noah had happened. And then one of the questions that somebody asked was, do you think they'll ever find Amelia Earhart's plane? And he said, they already found it. And everybody was like, whoa, what, huh? It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure these people over here, they found it. I forgot who it was he said. And I know y'all gonna be like, what? You forgot? That's a part of the tea you're supposed to tell us. But just keep an eye out for some documentaries about Amelia Earhart in the next year or so, because it might be that they found her plane. There was just so much info being given in this presentation, and I was like trying not to be rude and be typing in my phone or anything. I remember there was one point I ran to the bathroom so I could hurry up and type a little quick note and run back in before I forgot it. There was just so much information he was giving. And so once his presentation was over and the evening wrapped up, we did say a final goodbye. Like those of us that had lingered around talking and everything, if he walked by you, he was like, oh, hi, good to see you. He still remembers that I'm from North Carolina. I remember he was giving this presentation and he said something about North Carolina and he pointed at me and I was like, he knows I'm from North Carolina. So North Carolina, he's representing. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. There definitely was a moment where I was just listening to him talk, and I was like, oh my God. I used to read this man's books as a kid, and like, you know, he was one of my childhood heroes, and I'm just sitting in a room listening to him give a seminar on a Friday afternoon. Like, life is crazy, isn't it? And so when the night was over, and it was time to go home and everything, right before you left, they had like a little bag with the VIP guest name up there. And in this bag, it had a book, his new book called Into the Deep. And it is autographed. I have an autographed book by Dr. Robert Ballard. So I'm pretty excited about that. I want to read this, but I'm low-key thinking, like, should I just buy another one and read that one? And then, like, keep this one because I don't want to mess it up or anything. But I'm not sure. But I'm definitely looking forward to reading this at some point. And especially because the whole reason that I even know who Dr. Ballard is, and the whole thing that really sparked my interest in the Titanic in general, was reading one of his books as a kid, Finding the Titanic. And so now I got both of these books on my shelf. You know, the book that started my interest, and now the book where I actually got to meet him and get it autographed as an adult. This is my message to you all. Always do something every now and then to heal your inner child. That inner child is still in there, so do something for them. And for mine, I got to meet my childhood hero. But that's my video on meeting Dr. Ballard and on visiting the Maine Maritime Museum. So, yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching my video. And also, we are over 3,000 subscribers now. I just realized that. And I was like, oh my God, the channel is really like growing. So thank you all to my new subscribers. Welcome aboard. And we will continue to dig into the story of Titanic and those that traveled on her. Y'all have a good one.